nothing else for 5 more years.
Dude, 11th edition, 12th edition, maybe. What'll happen?
I'll be 30 by the time 11th happens.
I think we're live.
I'm going to be 30
Hello.
by the time 11th
Hello.
edition comes about.
Al's old.
Hello, everyone.
That's our intro.
About becoming
So-
older. It's a strange phenomena.
so
Hal is
over.
whinging about, oh my god, as time passes, I get older. Oh no.
I don't look
Don't worry.
30. Well, not 30 yet, but I don't
Neither
look
do I,
30.
Yeah,
because I'm
it's
so
'cause it's-
handsome.
That's because it's 2024. 30 is the new, 20.
Officially
Yeah.
going to have to shave all facial hair to immediately look younger, so I can
Yep.
still...
You'd
Embrace it.
probably look 20 if you
Kick it.
shaved.
yeah, I can
embrace-
get away with it.
Yeah.
Embrace the grey hairs. Look, I've got the grey hairs coming in already. Nearly 40 at this rate.
Embrace the
Speaking
beard.
of Speaking of grey hairs, though, who's ready for some 10,000-year-old lore from the
Yeah,
Horror's
baby.
Heresy?
Oh,
Check out that
Look,
transition.
bed
right
made. Somebody said your bed is made.
Easy. Look, it's made.
It's the nicest thing you guys have said to
Hella
Colin and
criminal.
freaking ever.
there. The bed is made.
Pretty much.
Oh my god.
Whereas Pepe, I don't hate Invincible. I think it's fine. I just don't think it's. Oh, you mean from Fortnite? Yeah. Okay, I don't want to think yeah,
I rewatched that today. I must admit.
Shout out
Oh,
to
gosh.
the Fortnite stream.
you guys
The
check out
absolute
Call It a Nice
Fumble.
Fortnite stream. It's
The fumble.
No,
Fumble
don't
calling
check it
the-
out. Don't
It's
look at that screen.
just watch the last 5 minutes, and that'll sum up our gameplay.
Watch the 50 clips I had sent to me all about the end.
Welcome everyone. Today we're continuing with Legion lore from the Great Crusade, not our Fortnite claps
best.
or absolute failures in the last 2 minutes. But today we'll be covering some more Legions lore. We've got Night Lords, Blood Angels, and World Eaters. It's a bit of a bloody trifecta, to be fair. This one will be pretty horrific, but hopefully we will enlighten you to perhaps some of the most gloriously evil and some noble creatures amongst these Astartes. But before that, we get into it. Colin, it's question of the week, and I hear it's been pretty rough.
Of course, yeah. It was what would you be the god of, and what would your path to godhood look like? # godhood. I'm going to start with the one that isn't me getting lit up, because there's quite a few of those. I've immediately lost the person's name. I didn't write down their name. Son of a bitch. All right, we're gonna start with the second one then, on account of me losing it. The second one will come back is by CHN INK or IN5KF. That is a mouthful. # godhood. I'll become the god of V-turbers and have Colin become a follower /sip. You spelled it wrong, but you did
God.
follow the criteria of
Nice.
cooking my ass. So
It's one of those things where someone asks, like, are you proud of your legacy? And in a weird way, like, kind of proudly disgusted by it. Funny.
I'm proud that I ruin everything I touch.
Ooh,
Oh,
we
God.
have two notifications. Thank you, Zan0, for being a member for 7 months.
Thank you, brother.
My 2 faves, hell yes. I don't know which 2 you're talking about of the
42
3,
legions.
but they're all
Yeah.
cool, so good. Joseph Pollard, $10. Thank you. Colin, I will send $10 more if you unmake your bed. Well, I mean,
Well,
you heard the man.
well, you heard the
There's a
man.
dog on it.
You heard the man. Just lift up a corner. It's unmade.
I'd be making eggs. I'd be eating raw eggs for $5 out
That's
here.
true. Let me finish reading the fucking thing, all right? Then we can talk about.
If
Dance,
anyone
monkey,
donates
dance.
100, if anyone donates 100, we'd have to do like a hot ones, wouldn't we? Just something out there already.
That'd be fun.
My God.
Next
what's
one.
The next one,
I
yeah.
found it.
Not to alarm anyone, but I can't physically hear anyone. My headphones just made an exploding noise, and now I can't hear anything. So
Oh my
please bear
God.
with me and continue the show. I'm going to try and fix what the hell's going
Oh
on.
my God.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay, luckily
Why
I'm-
is technology
I'm up
hating
first.
me?
Next one
Uh-oh.
is we're at batshit36. Respect it. My path to godhood would include, in no particular order, anime girl thighs, Ronald Reagan, an inappropriate amount of Kool-Aid, Taco Bell, but he spelled Bell wrong, and a bad Jamaican accent.
Oh, this sounds like a
He would
nice call.
I said if you would become a god every other Tuesday or night. What are you doing on Tuesdays in Ronald Reagan?
That sounds horrific.
That's quite
Like,
it's quite the
That
combination.
actually got worse with every part added to it.
And then the last one at Hermitberg 8481. My quest to godhood would making Colin have good aim on Fortnite. Pray for me.
For the audio listeners, he is absolutely slamming his desk there because he's
Oh my gosh.
truly passionate about.
He spelled my
Fortnite.
name Collen. Bro.
We have a donation
Oh
by
my
Incoming
gosh.
Backup.
Thank
They
you,
said,
you're a G.
I might be called back to the military very soon, so not fun. So I'm going to
Mm.
send the funny messages first thing. Boingob, clap. Also, have you seen the new AOS magic rules? Seems kind of effing baller.
I have not seen.
haven't
I knew
seen
Born
it
God was gonna
yet.
be mentioned when I saw your name. Though.
Thank you, brother. Thank
I
you.
hope that
Thank
goes
you.
well. But
Yeah, I hope you do
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Boingob will always be with you as well in your heart. So praise be.
Bless you.
We need like a symbol, like a hand motion thing to do for Boingob. And then we get it going. Is that the last one of the question of the week, Con? Or is that oh yeah. So
I mean, there was more about me, but
shout out to people who are roasting Colin. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I lost us that round, and Colin got all the blame for it.
Someone said Colin's
take it.
teacher is coming out in his correcting of spelling, lol. So,
it's my name.
Don't worry, I spelled Colin's name wrong for quite a while, but 2 L's in it.
At least that's common. Where did the E come from?
Colleen or colon. Sorry, but no, not
Oh,
colon.
man.
It's
Oh, God.
Colin, like I'm pollen.
Oh my
Another
gosh,
donation by
Tom
Tom Warren.
Warren.
Even a god couldn't make Colin good at Fortnite.
With the L. Thank you, Tom Warren. Thank you, Donkey Man USA. For the
Donkey Man,
$5.
yeah.
Damn
Okay,
you.
go ahead, Eli. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Colin can read it.
Oh, damn you, Colin. I listen to Slayer. Now how am I supposed to paint my Skitari rats while crying over Felix? The tears are
Yeah.
great for watering down the paint. So
Oh, that kind of goes hard though. DJ Beast,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank
Please
you.
tell Colin I love him. For Fortnite.
Yeah.
Sano says currently painting L all the way.
There we
Because
go.
we gotta love gaslighting our L's.
Yeah,
wow.
baby.
hell yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you,
for all the
brothers.
generosity.
The new question of the week we have, I think, is it Colin or Eli? Do you remember which one we put there?
It's
Yes.
the question of the week, but it was Eli's question. So
This is Eli's
All right.
brainchild.
First we have RP20 guy. I assume this is the guy in Andy's Discord. For $2, thank you. I think your name is Light. I might be wrong. You might just be someone else, but still waiting for a long Soul Drinkers video, guys. It'll happen.
One day.
I have the omnibuses.
One day.
I will do the expert section.
I'm not reading
I
six
say it now.
books of. I'm not reading 6 books of Soul Drinkers.
I will because they're purple, and so that means they're cool.
They are very purple.
dude, I haven't read any of the Horus Heresy. What makes you think I'm gonna read random Space Marines?
And their Horus Heresy have great books in it, brother.
Yeah, at least Horus Heresy Space Marines lose. Space Marine novels in 40K, they just
They lose because they're fighting other Space Marines.
Yeah, I know, but it's as much as you can get. Oh my gosh. But anyway, our question of the week is what crime would you be condemned by Conrad Kurz for? So what would he probably flay you alive for doing? What is our hashtag?
Hashtag justice.
Hashtag justice. Let us know in the comments, please and thank you. I think our crime would be our Fortnite gameplay. I think Conrad would come after us after one of those.
Terrible accent impressions.
I'm gonna make a right turn on red on one of the lights. You're not supposed to do that, and my car's gonna get ripped in half.
I think Conrad would be broadcasting Hal's demise over half the things this guy says.
I would say my crime is smuggling, clearly. Legit. Ignore that. I'm just messing.
There are many more crimes Conrad could. What do you think I do in my free time? I'm a Warhammer YouTuber. Sometimes Halo and BattleTech. What the fuck do you think I'm doing out there?
It's okay, guys. We all know no Warhammer. The more it's like the scale. Like the more Warhammer knowledge you have, the less Riz. So we appreciate.
One of us is married. You have a girlfriend.
We're okay. We're doing all right. It's 50-50.
As long as you find someone as weird as you, it works. It works.
Very true.
That's the whole. That's the magic. You learn things on Great Crusade. But speaking of learning,
I
something,
just gotta. Oh,
Oh, go ahead, Sokon.
I just need to find me a woman who you bring up the Altmer and she busts
Hates
out the knife ear racial slurs, and I'll know if I
Yeah.
which one.
Yeah, that's the
My
good stuff.
soulmate.
Okay.
I'm gonna make an edit right now.
Hermit back $5. Thank you. Although I
Thank
just tuned into Colin reading my message, made me drop my Marathi body pillow. But you guys are the best. Hey, can you make like a copy of that?
It's a good.
Don't
good
send him
present
the
for
same
Colin.
one.
You send me a
Don't
link.
send
That's not sanitary.
No, yeah, please don't send me the same one.
No.
Yeah, please.
No.
But
Why is it walking?
I thought this was supposed to be a pillow. It's quite stiff. I don't know. I don't get it. What's going
I
on?
feel like I'm hearing this in Alex Jones like screaming for some reason.
That's the frogs.
The frogs and then the pills they walk. Obama.
Fuck you, Neon.
What did he say? You have a DBZ mug. I wonder why you have. There we
Wow.
go.
The mug is the least offensive thing. I got a Vegeta tattoo.
No, I'm not reading that donation out. That's
Conrad was
horrendous.
paying me for my Isha jar. Thank you, Douglas Watson.
I've had
Thank you.
enough in my life of people mentioning jars. I just need to get away from jars.
Is it a mason jar? Ooh.
Jarring. God. Sam Kaufman.
Oh, got
I
another
can't even
one.
begin the
We got
episode.
another- We got another
Warhammer.
donation from
No,
Very
Tim, I
generous.
just won.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
fine.
you guys.
Oh my guys.
We got one from Sam
Thank you,
Kaufman
guys.
for €2. Euros? Dollars. Euros.
Yeah, Colin did.
I'm
find
having a
this one.
stroke. Dollars.
You said
all in
just
fine.
as weird as I am, not infinitely more.
And,
Incoming backup.
Thank you.
incoming backup donated 30 squigglies, said lurking in the Everdank and praising Boingob because Conrad is a filthy non-believer, and when our rotisserie law will jump once again, he will be one of the first to be squashed under his velocity. True.
Yes.
Praise Boingob. We love him.
Our
Very
Lord.
life of Brian. Okay, it's still the law. The actual
Funny
thing.
picture
yes.
of Colin. How do I
The
get
thing
it?
that keeps us employed. We're talking about Great Crusade lore, and we're going to begin with perhaps the most wholesome of all the legions. Definitely the people who have body pillows, but for all the wrong reasons. We're talking about the Night Lords, 8th Legion brothers.
For the right reason.
Not for the right reason.
Is there a right reason?
Let's not go there. God damn it. Because Crimson Glory here just says, Jar Squatter video destroyed my innocence.
Oh, man.
I'm going to get another drink. Hold on.
I'm gonna need it.
I'm overstimulated by this too much. I just can't handle it.
Image.
Night Lords Legion. Okay, brothers. The Night Lords story begins, well, perhaps in Chicago. It could have been Chicago, but this is 30k Chicago. They
Real.
started by gaining recruits from like crime sinkhole, people who like in lost areas which never had like any sunlight. And these are like the forgotten and like the sort of broken people under terror. And the Emperor of Mankind decided, hey, they look like they would be amazing for like building the greatest empire ever known to man and building the future humanity needs to live off. So these
It's
members
that
were
meme
taken.
of the guy at the tree just going.
Yeah, so these people were pretty like they were hardcore. They're pretty. A lot of them were quite like almost. Their skin was like completely pale, like even just as regular humans, because again, like none of them had seen light like, for decades, even at some point. And these people started getting recruited into the growing Imperium of Man, and they would become the first members of the 8th Legion. I can't remember, Andy, if there's an original name for the 8th Legion. A lot of the Legion,
We
some
don't
of the
know.
original ones just completely lost to time. I think Colin might have to check on it there.
Called the
As they
murder
were-
goblins or something.
Looks like it was just kind of the Night Lords.
To be fair, it might have been adopted as because some
Oh.
Primarchs they actually kept their original Legion names as well, so it might have been that case. So we have another donation here.
They were originally just known as the 8th Legion. They didn't get a name.
They just said send in the 8th, and that was
8.
it. That's all you need.
To be fair, the first Legion was literally, or the Dark Angels were literally just called the Angels of Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Well, I
Just
just
called
like the
that.
idea of they're like, hey guys, we're going to transform you from a bunch of murdering psychopaths and criminals to a bunch of murdering
8 foot
psychopaths
tall
and
murderous
criminals.
psychopaths
Yeah.
and criminals.
We have a
Brilliant.
donation by Zano saying, knowing Colin's luck, he'll get the girl that asked if he goes to the Cloud District often.
Bro, don't give me the zine.
We also got
Have you
twats.
guys seen the memes about, like, if ever you see a girl who's a fan of the Night Lords, just like run away?
Yeah,
There's, like,
yeah.
there's so many memes
Yeah.
online.
Do not
I'm in.
not trust a Night Lords fan.
I'm in.
No,
Those they're like Gojo fans. I haven't seen that show, but I know that those women have said
I don't even
despicable
know what that
things.
is.
I get
It's a
it.
real
He's
litmus
right.
test here. So these criminals, criminal scum were all united, and they were turned into space marines because why not? And they would be sent, fucking rocketed out, good old football throw armed into the Great Crusade in the stars to go build and conquer, non-compliant, quote in quotes, non-compliant human civilizations. And Xenos probably killed a few Eldar because they deserved it.
Okay.
They had a weapon on them. It's fine.
This is straight.
Bit dark, sorry.
So weird.
But this legion would go on for quite a few decades. They were missing their Primarch. They probably were jealous of all the other ones who did have their Primarch, but they wouldn't be jealous for very long because on the world of Nostromo, which a brief description of Nostromo, it's permanent night. It is darkness. It is basically pollutants, the planet, completely circling an almost dead star. Like it's an incredibly cold and dark world. And this is where good old Primarch Conrad Kurz would land upon. Donation by Neon LF Graves. Thank you, brother. It says, enough roasting, Colin. You have very nice facial hair and a good voice, which is very true.
Much. Thank you.
He has a very
Okay.
good voice. He's a handsome fella.
He is.
Colin Body Pillows.
Oh,
Lorecrimes
idea.
merch.
Let's go.
Choose your pose now. But yeah, so basically, as we mentioned, like sort of mirroring how like the sinkholes and like areas like dark ruins where the people on Terra were first found. Nostromo is very similar. The people of Nostromo, they actually have like completely black eyes. Their eyes have just to absorb all the light like possible. So they are very much just glancing an eye at someone who's from Nostromo. You can very easily tell they're Nostromo. And most of them all have like jet black hair as well. It's quite rare to have any other hair color. And Nostromo, these people were pretty much the worst people who ever existed ever. They were disgusting thieves, certain words I can't say on YouTube, and other things. Every crime imaginable was pretty much accepted, normal day life. Everyone, you couldn't really punish one person because everyone was a criminal, just down to even like, the innocent parent or quote unquote innocent parents. But eventually, we can't focus too much on Conrad Kurz because that will be his own video, but basically Conrad Kurz arrives on this planet and turns into like a murderous Batman, Batman, but the Joker sort of combined, and with, like a massive rise to power where he would like torture the innocent people. He would create a sort of weird quote unquote utopia where every single crime, even littering was met with brutal execution. It's to the point where it was a very, very, very quiet piece on Nostromo because no one didn't want to step out of line being like, wow, you seem to upset the guys today. You're like, oh, I know, just a little bit.
People go into the library and they're like, I have to make sure I don't have an overdue book because I'm going to get killed if it's a day late.
I have to return some tapes.
Yeah, we're not even joking though. But then the people in Nostromo would then be quote unquote joined to the Imperium of Man when the Emperor of Mankind would arrive. Pretty horrific scene. Sounds like it's a very awkward meeting and like weird meeting between the Conrad Kurz and his father. But again, that's for its own episode. But
thank you.
Now it just goes a bit downhill for the 8th Legion. As if it wasn't bad enough, they've already like emerged from their own like hellscape in some strange part of Terra, but then sort of they have a noble side to them as legionaries building. Oh, another donation.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Tom Warren, thank you, brother. He says someone complimented Colin. Quit chat. We need 100 new insults to balance this out. You leave him alone, okay?
Harry Ballantyne was quick on the trigger with insult 1. Colin looks like he'd be a word bearer.
Ooh.
To be fair, I think I like the one where it's is it the Toy Story guy? I think that's very cool. Who's the guy from Toy?
Chicken guy. At least that one was.
It's just like new.
Oh man. But so eventually the 8th Legion would be reunited with their Primarch, which is Conrad Kurz. And it's not really a joyous occasion as much as probably many other legions, like, fantastic, our Primarch is here. The 8th Legion would soon discover, like, this guy has some ideas about this guy's got a he's the new manager who clearly got fired from the previous place for, like, from disgruntled employees or something. He did something really wrong. And all the people of Nostromo, at first it was a kind of the best of, like, quote unquote best of the best of Nostromo, so the children who had maybe grown up in a time of peace. These people were recruited into the 8th Legion as well. And this is where we get onto the fun part, which is the Legion's tactics. The 8th Legion perhaps killed the least amount of human beings during the Great Crusade. And you're wondering, why did that happen? Surely, are they more like the Salamanders? Are they more like peaceful or, human-loving compared to maybe some of the other ones? Are they, more connected to their humanity? It was very much the opposite. So, for an example, say a world was rebelling against the Imperium of Man. A lot of worlds are brought into compliance. It's only 200 years of war. It's a very quick amount of time for a galaxy. So a lot of worlds would go, hey, that Imperium thing's no longer here. Let's rebel. And they're like, the crowds are cheering. They're all going, we're ready to, fight off these invaders. We're going to, they took our job. It's our freedom. Shout out, Braveheart somewhere there is screaming freedom. And then they'd see, like, oh, there's, like, Space Marine legionary ships arriving. So everyone's really pumped, but the Night Lords are not attacking. And people, and after a while, like, as the weeks are going on, this people are starting to get like, my God, I'm a little bit bored now. And then they start to hear the screams. And they're realizing that important people, governors, or, like, people, like, well-known, so, like, literally like a Mother Teresa figure, like, not saying Mother Teresa herself, but Mother Teresa figure, like, would probably be kidnapped at some point. And people will start to realize, like what Conrad Kurz did on Nostromo, justice is through fear. And these people will be slowly tortured. Their screams, the video will be displayed all for these rebelling worlds to see. I've had another donation by Donkey Man USA. Thank you, brother. He says, I put a rat in Terminator armor, truly the pinnacle of Skaven superiority next to the Dreadnought.
Hell yeah.
Blessed individual.
Dreadnought armed with a rattling gun. Oh no, please stop.
Storm Vermin
awesome.
into Dreadnought.
I mean, I kind of like the idea though that, like, the Night Lords turn up and all of a sudden it's like, oh, what happened to Gran? Granny is now a lampshade. If you don't behave, you're next. That's their method.
If you don't behave, you're going to be the stand for the lamp.
Yeah, I'll complete the set of the table set. And Mum is going next, and then it's
the scary part is the lampshade is still wailing. So the Night Lords would slowly eat away at people's sanity, their morale, to the point where worlds would quickly, after a few weeks, surrender. Most other legions, it'll be open battle, perhaps millions would die, but then there would be victory, whereas only thousands, perhaps even hundreds would die to the Night Lords, obviously in horrific ways. They were turned into torturers and just made to fully understand the human psyche to the point where they would ruin it. And this would go on to, they would often use like a thing to quell like rebellion worlds during the Great Crusade. They obviously have many conquests. They didn't particularly like fighting things that didn't feel fear. So fighting certain Xenos or say robotic.
And they didn't like fighting wars where they weren't guaranteed to win with overwhelming like odds.
Yeah, they weren't known for their, because they weren't used to as much like full on, it's not like in ancient Greek battle, like it's not two phalanxes meeting on and then on a see who wins. This is they are very much attack and retreat, but not like a honorable White Skulls way. This is very much we don't fight, we fight always dirty,
brother. That unarmed civilian was looking at me funny kind of battles.
Yes, in fact, very much more like Genghis Khan sort of, man, there's a moat in the way. You know what we could use to fill that up? There's an entire village over there. We have
although they did reputedly have very much the least civilian casualties of any legion by a fair margin. But it's just like that whole thing of like, what's moral? Killing 1,000 people swiftly or skinning 10 people really slowly? It's like, you tell me.
Truly a conundrum.
I feel like this is where I'm obligated to say they are not the good guys. I don't care how you're balancing the numbers. When the amount of people you skin alive is more than zero,
and as much as like, And as heartless as the Iron Hands are, they're literally just like, gun them down, done, next, move on. Oh, it's still alive, mercy kill, blah, blah, blah. Very like, get the numbers done, whereas Night Lords are like, oh, this one's still alive.
Yeah, to be
Oh,
fair, a
no.
lot of the other legions would look at them and go like, wow, those are some rookie numbers, not realizing what happened to the rookie numbers.
Yeah.
But essentially, the legion throughout the Great Crusade would then, like, this would almost be like perfected in a way. A lot of them would follow Kurz's example. Kurz's overarching justification is that like, he spares so many people, and therefore he achieves his version of quote unquote justice. But not everyone would see it that way. Particularly, they mostly justify all the horrific things they do by saying it's for like the greater good, the greater good.
Towel reference. Towel reference.
Shout out to Tower there. Donation by that grey shark 77. Thank you, brother. He says,
Thank you.
Colin, due to people being mean,
boy.
I shall compliment you. You have skin.
Oh,
That's
thank
it.
you.
Which is more than a lot of people can
Bro.
say about when they find the Night Lords. They don't.
That's
have
true.
Yeah. Thank
Take
you.
what I
for
can
the
get.
$5.
Winning.
The kind of greater philosophy, like they are very much they see themselves, or Kerr sees it as like we're like self-sacrificing ourselves because we're doing this we're taking on this burden for justice, and we take no pleasure in doing it, but it's having great results. But it turns out not everyone would feel that way within the Legion towards the end, and particularly with the as the Great Crusade grew further on and Kurz was further from Nostramo. Let's just say the recruitment masters on Nostramo started to go, well, we sent all the good ones. Let's just send anyone now
Good
because we
ones.
need to meet quotas. And so
Mm.
people who literally should be executed for their crimes on Nostramo were sent to join the Legion. So people who had none of the quote-unquote philosophical backing that Kurz takes to it, despite the outcome being the same.
And not only that, at this point, their homeworld was also reverting back to crime. And there's like one character called Gendor Scrivok, who's descended from like a crime family. And they're like, we'll put him in the Legion, and then we'll have like an insider in the Legion. So when they come back, we can get away with more stuff because we'll have a legionary who's like covering up our tracks. And like, you sneaky fellas. Oh, what could go wrong?
One of the boys, one of us,
One of the fellas.
one of the fellas. Truly, this is a time to be a criminal. Also, just a side thing to note as well: the Legion's got drip. The Night Lord's armor design is pretty cool. Bit terrifying. I do think, to be fair, I think Conrad Kurz more took this as a lesson from Fulgrim because he was mentored by Fulgrim. Fulgrim obviously sculpted his armor, and the Emperor's Children look the part of the best warriors. And so I assume that Conrad Kurz took that lesson of you can use some iconography.
Oh, I gotta post this picture, bro. It's perfect timing. The insulin pump went up. How do I do this? How do I do this?
I'm gonna
It's been
grab the
summoned.
pump real quick.
Having an insulin.
Use that,
insulin
Eli. Use that
ad break.
website. You can share it from there.
Where did you?
I put it in the chat. There's like a shareable link. Like you go on that website, and that's what I use to
okay.
share images.
Image.
Neon LF Grove says, I bet Eli has a ton of pictures of Eddie Hall and Mitchell Cooper saved in his PC.
That's funny. Okay, it's almost ready.
Good old Eddie Hall, though.
What's he cooking up?
Yeah, so the Legion drip is pretty damn good. They often use their armor is designed to inflict fear upon humans. They resemble literally bat creatures, things in the night. They are covered in chains. They wear the skin of dead people.
Justice.
Oh god, yeah, pretty much. And it's designed to inflict fear. To be fair, a lot of their helmet designs are pretty damn cool, and certain things on their chest plate. I haven't looked at the image yet, but I'm going to at some point there. People want to see
I think Colin should look at it.
There's a
too,
link
to
in
be
the chat
honest.
for people who want to
Boy.
enjoy.
Let me check this bad boy out.
Oh no,
Click on the fucking link.
it's in the chat. For
Man.
people listening now. Do you want to describe it for the audio listeners just quickly?
Yes, please
It's,
do.
it's Colin, and then Kevin Lavroni's in the background, and it says, when Colin asks me where his insulin went, bottom text, and the text is in Comic Sans.
Very nice. That's a classic meme template.
I stole
5 stars from
I
me.
stole his insulin.
He took my
such
insulin.
meme.
Truly a Night Lord move. So as the Night Lords are getting further on in the Great Crusade, it's starting to corrupt them. This level of like, you know, torture, this like inhumanity they have to inflict. A lot of the new recruits are not of the right. Let's just, I don't know, they're not of the right ilk. They're not of the right, not caliber. And so a lot of them start to do it for fun rather than, you know, they enjoy hurting people for fun rather than this whole reason of justice. Conrad Kurz starts to notice this and he hates his legion. One of the only few Primarchs who truly despises his own sons. Although he does have some relationships with something who I'll get to in a bit. But a few last more like the Great Crusade kind of big points for the Night Lords was there's an interaction with Vulcan and Conrad Kurz where essentially Mr. Big Hugs himself, Vulcan, was very upset when he realized how the Night Lords fought, and they actually came to scuffle pretty close, I'm pretty sure, at one point.
Bro, you burn people alive for a living.
The salamanders do be, you know.
But he doesn't do it for fun. He does it out of necessity.
I assure you, this Eldar child needed to be
Yes,
stored.
this Xenos orphanage was just. They had a weapon.
So true, King.
It was like that when I got there.
And also, for every Eldar child we burn, we take the ashes to help bury seeds for trees, which will grow into new life, and it will help nourish the roots. So it's actually a good thing.
Yeah, so why do you hate vegans? What's wrong with you? You know. I think we have 2 donations here. Thank you, Tom Warren, again, brother. He says, you can't steal an American's insulin. That's a grand
All my
Actually,
money.
might be true. Incoming backup says pancreas no work. Have you considered making it simply work?
My bad on that
also-
one, dude. I should have just thought about
Factory
that.
reset.
Bro, press Control Delete, turn it back on. and
Just
off
you know
again.
that little like bit where you get like a pencil and you put it in the thing to reset. It's easy.
Just like, dig around in there.
Also, the Night Lords used to be my favorite legion. Then it was Salamanders, and now it's Word Bearers. Is that concerning?
Nice,
I've heard it
good,
is.
good choice.
That could
good choice.
literally be considered a conversion.
It's a
It
character
sounds like
arc.
it.
He's seen the
Mm.
truth, the primordial truth.
I understand the Boingob obsession now. It all makes sense.
But basically, at this point, towards the end of the Great Crusade, the Legion is basically filled with literal scum. Barely, like, they are pretty much the worst of the worst in terms of as human beings. They're not quite the honorable, you know, compared to them, like, you know, Emperor's Children or Imperial Fists, Ultramarine. They're nothing compared to them, and they're often very regarded as scum by the rest of the entire legions. Towards the very end, there's an interaction with Conrad and Corax. They're basically the same Primarch, but one's a bit mopier. Where essentially Conrad Kurz is just in a city. He had to, quote unquote, purge some of his own legionary sons because they've been acting up. They've been acting unwise near the
Acting a
civilians.
fool.
You know, innocent civilians got me acting unwise, as they were pretty much. So, and they just gone out their way to hurt people, and so Conrad put them down like dogs. And then Sevatar was there, and I think Andy's got a thing there. And
I've just had a few people saying that your camera seems to be a bit slow, so maybe just like reboot it or something. If you can. Colin's going a bit strange in the views.
Harry Valentine donation, thank you, brother. He says
Thank you.
Eli the kind of guy to eat people for the protein.
Yeah, that's right. Or stimulants.
Thank
You
you,
got the
Eli.
Emperor's Children in me.
Truly an Emperor's Children fan.
Thank you, Eli.
I was waiting for somebody else to make the joke, but they weren't catching on, so I had to do it myself.
Fair enough.
My man be huffing civilians. But the Conrad Kurz was basically playing with his like lightning claws, and Sevatar, who's a legionary we'll talk about in a second, he appears and he goes, "Oh man, we need to get out of here." And then Conrad goes like, "We're basically not alone here." And then literally emerging from the shadow, where I think it even says in the book, there's no way an actual thing could hide in that. It's ridiculous. And Corvus Corax emerges, and then he sort of declares, Conrad, what do you think? Conrad, what are you doing, brother? Sort of in like a Beatles accent, probably. He's like John Lennon, very upset with him, a bit mopey. And Conrad just basically tells him, screw off my slightly better counterpart who's wearing pretty much the same armor as me, but slightly darker. A bit mopey interaction there, but that would be a thing that would come up later in the Great Crusade, their interactions. Another donation. Thank you, brothers, so much.
Thank you.
Daycon83 says, I don't know whose end it is on, but someone's audio sounds like there's an imp from Doom hiding in your walls.
What does that mean?
I don't
Don't
know.
know.
If there's any problem with the audio, brothers, let us know. Just because
I hope it's not me. I bought a brand new bloody microphone.
Oh, no.
It might have.
Might not be
Might
me
be me, 'cause I
hopefully,
don't
just 'cause
hear
I'm talking
anything.
so much.
Mm.
But yeah, so as we get onto like sort of a end of the Great Crusade, I'll just go through some like famous legionaries quickly. There's Sevatar, first Captain Sevatar, Jago Sevatarian, really well beloved, quite like a cool character, often filled with like good one-liners. He's a bit sarcastic. He doesn't know why everyone likes him because he doesn't take anything seriously, but everyone sort of finds him very cool. He has like a cool interaction during the Great Crusade where he duels with Sigismund, and Sigismund being like the best sort of duelist in the entire Astartes, like even probably since, he manages to sort of have equal footing with him because Sevatar is sort of latent psyker. There's also Shang, who is the equerry of Conrad Kurz. This poor guy is basically told to his face so many times, like, do you know
Yeah.
why you're equerry? It's because you basically you roll over and take it. Like you basically
Yeah.
acquiesce every single time you utter like wimp. But he's I think he might have been a Terran as well. Shang's somewhat interesting. There's
Yeah.
Zosahal, who's a Terran born, one of the oldest of the Legion. This guy does reappear in the 40k setting because he almost took over as first. Well, he took over as first captain after
Yeah,
the supposed
briefly.
death of Sevatar, but he wasn't able to keep the Legion united. I think another donation by Dante. Thank you, brother. He says, "Is Colin traveling through the wall?"
Bro, leave me alone.
Maybe.
I don't know what
It
is
might just be.
going
It might
on.
be internet, brothers. Unfortunately,
I think it's just a case
Yeah.
of people can hear you fine. It's just your camera is a bit slow, so all of a sudden it's
Oh,
just
I
you're
think
going,
it. Oh, I think it is
we
you,
found
Andy.
it.
I'm
I
not
think
gonna
we
lie,
found
bro.
it.
Your cord
Nice
might not
and
be plugged in all the
crackling.
way. Oh my gosh.
Leave me alone, or I'm going to say something truly foul.
Oh my gosh.
no.
I've got the
Crimson
message.
Glory,
typed out.
please.
Fine.
God,
Like,
they're on like,
Crimson
"Hey,
Glory hit me
brothers,
with a
thank
short
you."
joke. Oh my gosh.
What do you mean?
I actually,
What do you mean?
the one house that I was living in back in the good old bachelor days, the protein powder was put too high for me to reach.
No, no.
It's a real story.
"Oh."
Shout out to my 5'8" king.
Oh, bro, 5'8". What are you, a giant?
I was giving you extra.
Yeah, 5'8". Some
5'4".
of us-
5
Bro, I just tried
5'8's
to lie on your
5'8's are
behalf.
that's like poser short. You gotta be 5'5" or less, bro.
I'm 5'7". I'm too small, too big.
You're
to be a
literally-
dwarf.
you're literally
5'9" gang
tall.
rise up.
You're literally tall.
Literally 1 centimeter of
It's
6.
fine. When I went to China, I was the average
how I
height.
suffer.
It was very nice. Oh my gosh.
So just a few more characters, which is there's one called Gendor. I hate saying this guy's name. Gendor
Gendor.
Skraviok.
What a
Gendor
stupid name.
Scrivok. This is a guy who's known as the Painted Count. He gets like a cursed sword during later parts of like Horus Heresy, and he's also
He
basically
does a mini
demon now.
Fulgrim.
He appears at the Siege of Terror and he gets tortured for eternity at some point. It's like here's a crazy story.
Hate
Like
when
really
that
random.
happens to me.
There's also the character
Although
Talos.
he also briefly gets trapped in Perturabo's maze, which contained Angron. But then the demon sword is just like, go left, go right, go left. He's like, this is easy. And he gets out really like, typical demons.
You're
being
stuck in
cheeky.
here with me. And then so there's also one character called Talos who is more important after this Great Crusade Horus Heresy stuff, but it's important to mention because obviously he's a big character of the Night Lords and he is around. He's Apothecary Talos still at this point. Big, no one remembers him. And there's some cool units as well in the Night Lords. Just very quickly, there's the Ashamentar Terminators, which are perhaps, if they were like truly done in model form, they are like pretty much the sickest looking Terminators of the Horus Heresy. A lot of them have because with Nostromo they have the saber cat. They're like white saber cats, like snow saber cats, and the Ashamentar have them as their shoulder pads as like a sort of homage to the native fauna and flora of Nostromo. They often are equipped with lightning claws. They're pretty damn horrifically scary. There's also raptors as well. Raptors like the jump pack troops, who I think were first sort of properly used in the Night Lord's Legion. If people make raptor models as well, they often paint them in the Night Lord's colors. And there's one more bit I want to mention, was their unique ship called the Nightfall. This is literally a prison ship. It's a maze. This thing is used to torture a few Primarchs in some way. Poor old Vulcan is thrown in here and tortured by Conrad Kurz at some point. It's not important. It's also at the Siege of Terror for Angron. It's just a massive ship, and it's pretty... I mean, it must be so big that it literally contains Primarchs running around in it for weeks, so that's a fun thing. But towards the end of the Great Crusade, like very end of it, basically Conrad Kurz has a massive panic attack where he's been driven mad by all his visions he keeps seeing, even since he was on Nostromo. And he essentially lashes out at dawn, even though Conrad Kurz is like in the middle of seeing the Horus Heresy. He lashes out at dawn, and he's ashamed of it, so he runs away with his legion, realizing like everything is poison, everything is rubbish, and all the rest of the legions, well, quite a few of them are like chasing the Night Lords because they're going towards Nostromo. And the entire 8th Legion assembles above Nostromo, and they pretty much... I'm sure who said something in the comments now.
We got a lot of comments.
Kill Harry says Eli's like a pit bull. Stands in your car's hood, but he can't hurt you.
DJ Beast also said, when will Eli consume Colin and use his bones for subpar toothpaste?
Good lord.
And then why does Eli, the strongest of the group, not simply eat the others? Thank you. And then we also have membership from izen0nl. I said that wrong, I'm sure, but thank you. It looks like a cool Night Lords model in your profile picture. And then a donation from Hermit Berg. Andy sounds like Zinch T-posing on his mic.
Oh, no.
Thank you for the $2.
I hope it's not me.
Technical issues. Oh no. But
Also,
essentially,
bless you, Crimson Glory.
the entire Legion arrives above the world of Nostromo, and Conrad essentially says, that world, it's ruined me, it's ruined my Legion, everything, here's time for justice. So they declare that they're going to destroy it. And meanwhile, like people are calling from what's happened now?
they keep saying mean things.
Pancreas, no work,
Oh
putting
my
in the comments,
gosh.
lock me in a room with Teclis and he's coming out pregnant. Wow.
Oh no.
That's foul.
Oh, gosh.
Utterly foul.
I'll let
Essentially,
you go. Leave me alone.
speaking
Or
of
I'm gonna
something,
keep cooking.
This is why Conrad punishes him. Oh my gosh.
God, the people are on our case today. Speaking of utterly foul, Conrad is basically going to destroy an entire civilization, and they're all like phoning, like, and voxing, like, "Stop! What are you doing?" And many members of the Legion, even like the mortal crews of the ships and Astraman, so loads of them start going, "I don't want to destroy our home world." So he sends Sevatar in and the rest of the Terminators around to teleport on each ship, and they basically kill all the traitors. And essentially, Nostromo is essentially detonated like cracked like an egg, broken apart. And then all the other legions arrive. Horus, Vulcan, Dawn, loads of legions arrive, and basically the Night Lord's Legion ascends. What's happened now? No.
They're calling Colin infertile.
Wow. Truly,
Why?
truly degenerate Night Lord fans here.
Should we just call it a day and be like, right, we're not doing it anymore, guys. You're doing
Yeah.
this to us.
Until people can behave. you have to pay to
gosh.
neg us, to be fair. You know what I mean? At this point. But essentially, the Legion is censured. It had been a long time coming because their quote-unquote Legion tactics that had been undisturbed for like over a century were suddenly the problem. So a lot of them were completely like, you were happy to let us burn worlds, but now it's suddenly not right. And this is basically when the Legion would be approached by Horus. This would be the first time they would yell out their big battle cry, "Death to the false emperor." And the Legion would then betray the Imperium for
Wah,
the...
wah.
What we just mentioned, the way they see it as replacing... It's just vengeance against the Emperor who has, allowed them to do all this dirty work. And then, in a way, like, they want to put Horus on the throne of terror. And that is the Night Lord's Legion during the Great Crusade. Another donation
nice
by
hat.
Joseph Pollard. It says,
Seems-
Colland, why did you say you want to impreg Techless on stream and in 4K? Truly,
mean,
truly.
Have you seen Techless?
If I say, have you seen Colin? I was like,
Oh my god, I've been so
Well, they're valid
distracted by
statements.
I've been so distracted by the chat this whole time.
Colin's Techless' staff got me acting
Oh my
otherwise.
gosh.
Fucking-
Thank you, brothers, for the night.
Thank you
For
so
truly
much.
bringing the degeneracy to the Night Lords aspect of
Get
the
it all
podcast.
out.
Where was
early,
this in the
apparently.
Emperor's Children?
Oh my gosh. For real.
Truly. For all the audio listeners out there and people who are listening to this on Spotify, we are on Spotify if you
cow.
want to listen to it offline. The chat on our sidebar is truly being degenerate and calling us inbred. I'm pretty sure, which we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Someone
Oh,
said I'm
yeah.
gonna get spit roasted by a Make-A-Wish kid.
What does that mean?
But you don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
How could someone mean
Oh, come on.
Anyway, that was
Dirty
the Night Lord's
beast.
bit, I suppose. Oh, jeez.
truly,
move on before
truly
the chat
Night
gets
Lords
even
fans
more.
be bringing out the worst in people?
This is gonna be
Yeah,
long
definitely.
stream just because of all the chat reading we're doing. Oh my gosh.
The next Legion, though, Andy, who are we dealing with next?
Right, so the next one we're going to do is the Blood Angels. It's the only one of this three which could be classified as good. But there's a few things to talk about, so we'll start at the beginning. So back in the day, the Ninth Legion used to be known as the Revenant Legion. Oh, what have they posted now?
Someone says,
that's
just
something, yeah.
confirmed knife ears have the best pussy.
Ah, dear. Anyway, so yeah,
try to
they
keep it on
used to be
point.
known. They used to be known as the Revenant Legion. They were a very brutal yet necessary force that specialized in close quarters combat. Back in the day, before they were reunited with their Primarch, they were seen less as conquerors and more of just like ravagers. You send in the Ninth Legion, they broke everything, they killed everything, they left nothing left. Like, even if you were like, oh, we want you to go into this like cityscape and we want to leave as much intact as possible. No, we've just destroyed it, kind of like Iron Warriors but with more blood. And pretty much they were only ever used as a last resort or something where you wanted to get something done. You didn't care about the casualties. Now, I got another donation from Crimson Glory for $4.99. He says, "I love you, Colin. You are a good sport, and I respect."
Thank you very much, Crimson Glory.
Why has
Isn't
Philip
that nice?
Smither saying, is Colin pre-recorded?
Well, basically, his camera is like slow, so he looks like he's in slow
How
It's
could
like
we
a
even do that?
$30 webcam. I only have this webcam because I needed something for
Oh my
COVID classes.
Holy cow, man.
Oh, technical issues, the podcast.
Oh,
But yeah, so the Blood Angels at the time, known as the Revenant Legion, were deployed to the most dangerous war zones on Terra. And they intentionally didn't record a lot of their campaigns because we sent in the Revenant Legion, everyone died, much glory was had. It was like, no, we're not really going to talk about this very much.
Wow, literally,
oh God,
bro,
slow
clear my
anyway.
search history.
Yeah,
Literally,
um,
clear my search history, the Legion.
and they tended to be pitted against mutated abominations within the rad zones of Terra. So, like within the poisonous wilderness, the disfigured like denizens and mutants, they went put in the ninth. They'll get rid of those like Fallout character DLC. We got another donation from Donkey Man USA for
Thank you.
$5. Said a not insignificant portion of our paychecks go to Colin slander. Very
we
true.
appreciate it. We do.
I accept my place in life.
Truly existing to be bullied by Warhammer fans
Stop telling Eli to eat me.
and anti-diabetics.
Have I all ever talked to girls? Bro, I'm married. Look at that. I'm going Frodo mode and everything. There's my wedding ring. Holy cow. Oh my gosh.
Have you Uno reverse card?
Bro, he's here on a Friday night. He's not talking. We're working, and you're listening to a Warhammer podcast live.
If I rub,
It's 2 in the afternoon for him.
if you rub my forehead, you can see the future. Magic orb.
Holy shit.
Tough stream, boys. Tough stream.
That reminds me of the joke where someone says, "Looks like that guy's hairline is social distancing."
Yeah.
Also, I think Pinky Prime won the
Oh
bingo.
my
Well
gosh.
done, Pinky Prime.
Hey, good job.
So but because anyway, back to the Revenant Legion. So pretty much every single Astartes from the Revenant Legion had to endure a load of pain, a load of struggle, and oftentimes most of his friends, his comrades, they didn't survive very long. One thing they liked to do, which the other legions didn't like, they ate people. So we all know that the
It's very on point
Omophagia-
right now, isn't it? Very
They're
on
just like me.
Yeah. They're just like Eli. So we all know about the omophagia, where if a space marine eats someone's brains, they get to retain that, where they get to live through their experiences and stuff. They did this all the time, and they didn't just do it to their enemies; they did it to their own men. So if, for example, here we go, we've got another donation from Tom Warren, $5 saying that proves nothing. Perhaps you use sign language to communicate with your wife. True.
What?
No speaking is involved.
Does that mean if I eat Colin, I'd
Oh my
have memories
gosh, I
of being a
see.
diabetic?
Yeah, you get
I
memories
guess.
of
You
losing
feel
your
how it
insulin
is,
pump and
yeah.
panicking.
God, that's no
And we-
offense.
and
That's
we-
not.
And we
not
also got a
okay.
donation for $4.99 from Damien P saying, look,
Thank
Colin, just make the 1 hour Bretonia video and I'll defend you in the comments.
No way in hell.
It'll happen.
Okay.
It'll happen.
No.
Fair enough.
The donation would have to be
Thank you.
ungodly to even consider.
So one thing that's interesting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first Legion Master, I think it was a guy called Ishidur Osuros. And he was known as the only Lord Commander because what they did is every time he died, one of the Revenant Legion would eat his body. They'd get all his experience, and then he would assume his name and become the new commander. So they had this. They ate so many people that was their thing. They were the guys who ate their enemies, and they didn't have to be resupplied as much because they ate everything, including their own people. And they also were really good at fighting because everyone who was like, I'm going to run into the fray and smash him with my sword, they get shot. Oh, I'll just eat my friend. And now I experience that and go, that's a bad idea. And you learn and you improve. And that was kind of their thing. And because they were basically cannibals, none of the other legions really liked them because that's kind of if I was to put on my dating apps 5'9", really, really, really funny, eat people,
Loves
that would probably
Warhammer.
raise a few eyebrows.
How
Not
the
gonna
hell
happen.
is this guy? Is it M.H. Mia Holov who says, "Get memories of running over a raccoon"? How do you know that it was I ran over a badger? I must have told the story about running over a badger by accident.
Yeah.
It's so English, that sentence as well.
Raccoons learn their lifestyle from Colin. Oh dear.
Run over a badger, mate. Eh?
All right. So yeah, and because of the fact that these guys that were doing this during Terra, when they embarked across the galaxy, they kept doing this, and they were they started to form these blood rituals and weird cultural things, and basically following the liberation of Terra, they started to get really good at shock assaults and just denying enemies resources because you can send the Revenant Legion in, they'll kill your enemies, they'll eat your enemies. So they're kind of like a cleanup crew as well. It's it's environmentally friendly. I like these guys. Yet this would all change upon the moon of Baal Secundus, where the Primarch of the Blood Angels, or the Ninth Legion at the time, would be found and inducted into the Imperium by the Emperor of Mankind. Now, we all know about Sanguinius. He's a beautiful boy, and everyone in the Imperium loves him because he has wings and he's pretty.
More handsome Fulgrim.
Overrated.
Nope, wrong,
Yes.
wrong.
Way
Wrong.
more. None of that lip
Wrong,
filler. None
wrong.
of that augmentation.
Fulgrim's all
or,
natural, baby. Fulgrim's all
No.
natural.
No, that
Sanguinius is some mutant
It takes
spawn.
5
poser.
hours to get ready.
Yuck.
Nope. Yes, nope.
Yeah, doesn't
Nope.
look synthetic.
Fulgrim's
Doesn't
beautiful.
Look
My beautiful boy.
No, he's using filters. Anyway, so Sanguinius is known as the Great Angel, and everyone loves him because he's noble and proud and great. For a while, what are you laughing at?
So this Lego World Trade Center set made me laugh.
Oh, no.
It's-
Jeez.
It's
comments
Venus
are
struck the
being
tower. Hey!
Are we trying to get every
Oh, yeah.
the bingo card now is going to be the YouTube system?
There's been a comment in
I already said I'm going to get Teclis pregnant. Can we really get worse than that?
Probably not.
Seriously.
Probably mentioning certain amount of more than one tower.
Anyway, so basically what happened was Sanguinius was brought back into the Imperium, and he already knew in his soul there was something not quite right. He had this like anger and rage inside him that he always had to keep like locked in check. And for the first few decades, he didn't actually lead the Revenant Legion. I think it was like, oh, not decades, a few months. It was like, I think, what was it? About 4 or 5 months, half a year. He actually fought alongside Horus Lupercal and the Lunar Wolves because he wanted to learn how to wage war effectively. Because his main goal was he wanted to bring peace and prosperity to the Imperium with as few costs in lives as possible, and waging war in an ethical manner, at least more so than the Night Lords, for example.
I think Sanguinius had never led armies as well.
No,
the lot of
he'd
them
never
had-
been like a warrior as such.
Yeah, he'd just been a leader of some kind.
Yeah. We got another donation from Crimson Glory for 199 saying Fulgrim is the liver king of beauty. Yes.
Wow, that's actually.
How could you
like,
say
Damn.
this? How could you say this? Even as a little baby boy, he was beautiful. All the people loved him.
I love Fulgrim, who's working up to mine. Don't like Sanguinius.
Why do you keep turning into a dwarf?
DJ knows we
the-
can't tell if
the
you're serious or
mining
not because just Colin is so delayed. He laughed at the joke 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
So yeah,
gosh.
after a few months of fighting alongside the Lunar Wolves, there's actually quite a cute scene, I think, in his Primarch book, where he's talking to Sejanus and Abaddon, and they're all like, "Don't worry, sir, you'll be fine. I bet they'll love you. I bet they'll love you." He's like, "I'm a bit nervous to meet them." They're like, "No, they'll love you. They think you're brilliant." And he's like behind the curtain, like, "Oh, I'm gonna meet my sons. I haven't met my sons. I've been a bit of an estranged dad for a while." And he meets them, and what he does is he actually kneels before his sons, which is very uncharacteristic for a Primarch.
This guy ripped off Fulgrim.
They kind of give each other
Literally-
side eye
literally
as well.
Fulgrim.
don't they?
What?
Fulgrim does that.
The Legion gives each other like
Hmm.
side eye, being like, he's not meant to do that." Like, that's a bit
But the
weird.
thing was, the Legion really liked it because their entire life, all they ever got was people going, "You're not allowed to eat people. You're gross. Ugh, I bet they smell. Ugh, they're ugly." And then all of a sudden,
Truly
it's like,
being
when we-
oppressed here.
Lifter
Yeah,
oppression right
and-
there.
Yeah, you should
They'd be
be
giving
able to eat
cruel
people's
nicknames
It's
as well.
fine. Yeah, like Chomper and all that. Oh,
there's one thing I just
nasty.
remember, which I find so I can't remember where it's from, but the guy goes, because in the army people get given nicknames very easily. So there's one guy who had he clearly had one leg shorter than the other, and they called him a sniper's nightmare. Because he would rock back
Oh,
and forth
man.
when he
Oh dear.
Sniper's nightmare.
Ah,
People are so
Hal,
cruel.
the trivia you bring to law crimes is true.
Are you telling me your life is not more blessed hearing that?
No, I'm
fact?
genuinely like I'm sincere when I say that. I'm not being cynical.
They're always. It's always lovely.
Yeah,
Sniper's
it's always
nightmare.
right out of left field in a good way.
To be fair, like they often do it. Like if someone's like missing a hand, they call them hands.
or you lose like a finger, they'll call you Trigger. You're like, I see what you did there. Very good. So yeah, basically, instantly, Sanguinius won the love and respect of his sons. They were all crying and having a good time. He's like, "Oh, he loves us." Oh, what's
we
going
can't
on?
even read that
Glory.
donation out.
Oh, Crimson
Apologies
Glory
for the audio
donate
listeners. The
499.
donations are truly horrendous.
Okay,
This one.
okay, that's no
Fulgrim
good.
Fulgrim
kneeled
Crimson-
before his sons
good.
for a different reason.
Rob,
Very good.
Rob.
Crimson Glory.
Fulgrim
Very
kneeled
good.
before his sons. For
I
a
am
different
Fulgrim's
reason.
strongest soldier.
Dude, he was straight jorking.
Dorking my peanuts.
We're never gonna get through this episode. Look at this.
Oh,
We're never going to get
gosh,
this
man.
series done. We'll get to
Like the
Great
video,
Crusade
brothers, because
7,
if you're
like-
enjoying this, our suffering, please reward us.
And yeah, so
Oh, man.
basically the Revenant Legion became the Blood Angels, and Sanguinius went, right, we should probably stop eating people. That's not doing any good for our like optics. Our PR team is having a hell of a time. Oh, should we send in the Blood Angels? Are they going to eat everyone? So basically he said, right, let's stop doing that. Let's be noble and good. And that's what they did. They became noble and good and nice boys, and they don't eat people anymore. They still like to get into like a close quarter scrap. But what they did is, because Sanguinius had fought alongside the Lunar Wolves for so long, he said, I'm going to send each of my companies to fight alongside each of Horus's Lunar Wolf companies. They'll work together. They'll learn how to fight properly. And as such, they became really good warriors. And then they started to learn to to stave off the thirst they had and the anger and the rage. And because they had Sanguinius there, they were like, oh, if ever I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, I just go, look, there's Dada. He's good, isn't he? Ah, love him. And that made them feel better. And to be honest, imagine if you'd been like fighting for 100+ years and you're a veteran in the Revenant Legion. Everyone hates you, everyone doesn't like you. All you get for breakfast is brains and like tissue. And then all of a sudden this like beautiful man comes and goes, I'm your dad and I love you. So oh thanks, Dad. Oh, I love you too. I'm sure
We
I'd be
love
very
Crimson
choked up about
Glory. Thank
Yes,
you,
we
brother.
do.
that. We love Crimson Glory.
And DJ
And
Beast.
he loves us.
And
And
many
DJ Beast for
more.
all
We
the
love
You're
memes.
coming back up.
all of you.
Guys,
And
I'm
Harry
missing
Valentine,
names.
and
Harry
all our
Valentine,
regulars.
Tom Warren.
Mhm.
I'm missing names here, but
Hell is a
See?
gene stealer infiltrating the podcast. This is the weirdest shit.
is it because I'm saying sus? I say
Thank
like
you,
thing that
DJ
is
To be
sus.
fair, we only see like his waist up. There might be another arm somewhere there he's hiding. I don't know.
True.
Yeah, it's helping Fulgrim on his knees.
Anyway, moving
Okay.
swiftly
Stay in your
on.
lane.
I didn't. I say
And,
sus stuff, and then Colin said something about Teclis and pregnancy. So like, I feel like I'm in the clear.
Hey, stay in your lane. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's
I'm
his,
saying your
that's his
lane.
USP. Stop stealing his stuff.
Oh gosh,
Um,
man.
Anyway, so the Blood Angels like do this for a good 10 years. They're fighting with the Lunar Walls. Then eventually they're allowed to go on their own, and they're getting really good at it. They go from being like savage berserkers to like a more like shock trooper, noble. We fight with honor and we use swords more than chain swords and axes, and we like to make sure we use mercy and restraint. Good stuff. They went from savage like marauders to disciplined knights, and in a very short amount of time they became one of the most venerated legions because under Sanguinius's guidance, all of a sudden the Imperium loves them. They go, oh, Blood Angels, they're a good bunch. Oh, I love them. I'll give them a Chardonnay, Neuve de Pup. They like wine. I don't know why they like so much red wine. must be a Baal thing. I don't know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Only thing that happens after that is they go to Cygnus Prime and shenanigans happen, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, we could mention a couple of fun characters. Video recently on a guy called Astartes, who's like an original Revenant Legion guy. He had like his jaw damaged and he wore like a silver mask. And he was uncannily good at not dying. He kept going in like the thickest of fighting and surviving. And no one really liked him because as the Legion started to become more Baal and less Terran, they were like, oh, we're ashamed of our past. And this guy's like a reminder of like the guys who eat people. And then during Cygnus Prime, he doesn't get the Red First or the Black Rage. And then they hate him even more because it's like, oh, well, he didn't like turn like we did, but we're better than him because we didn't eat people. And he's just there going, I'm just trying to do a good job. Oh, poor Astor.
And there's a
Most
cool
of the
bit
other-
where Sanguinius meets Dragatai Khan, and then the White Scarf, the Blood Angels, just basically look at each other and just go, Jewel? They went, yeah, Jewel. And they immediately, I think one of the White Scarves comes back all like bruised up, and he went, was that fun? He went, yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
They're
have
quite-
that little banter where they're like, oh, you know what? People always call me a barbarian, and I'm actually a nice guy. And then Sanguinius is like, you know what? I'm not actually an angel. You're like, ha, ha, ha. And they were best friends. Like Sanguinius's best friends were Horus, Jagatai, and Leman Russ. They were his three like main.
So
guys.
even Jagatai Khan looks at Sanguinius and goes, I'm thinking
Whoa.
thoughts I've never thought before. But it's very hard because the Blood Angels, there's not really much on their Great Crusade lore, to be fair. It's
No.
quite. There's the Sanguinius Primarch book, but I've not read it at the moment. But shall do when I cover Sanguinius, to be fair. Oh, and the donation by
Thank you.
Document USA. Thank you, brother. He says, currently at work in a factory wearing my work boots and a wife beater, working with dangerously fast steel while laughing my ass off the law crime.
Nice.
Glad we can make it go easy for you.
Yeah.
Please don't
Yeah.
include us in the lawsuit.
Bless
So
me.
when
Be careful with
when
those
the trigger
machines.
nickname is
Jeez.
Yeah.
I made a
Um,
work related meme. It's up there somewhere. Some
Yeah.
malice propaganda.
Give it a
Yeah,
pin.
I saw it.
Oh no, let's have a
but
look
blood
at
as well.
this.
Blood Angels drip. They kind of got cool
They are
armor.
dripped.
They are
That's a
literally
good
dripping
one.
in blood. They have. I don't know if they didn't have the Revenant Legion was grey or something. It wasn't the original.
Well,
red.
all the legions were grey to start with, but I think their whole thing was like, why would you care about how these guys look when you're just sending them in to fight mutants in like poisonous mist places? Like, we're not going to care about what they look like. We just need them to get the job done. Because again, we're just doing all this job, killing all these people, and no one appreciates us. And then Sanguinius is like, I love you. Oh, we can get
So,
nice armor now.
Dark Master MC says, "What did I miss? My God, is this the episode? Like,
Quite
you've
a lot.
missed a
Yeah.
lot of
A little
slander."
bit, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just last thing,
Technical
I,
issues, slander, all sorts.
last thing I want to mention is just the like when the recruits now come from Baal, they kind of get that weird like Latin Catholic sort of angelic art twist to all their stuff because Baal
yeah.
itself is, as we know from lore, permanently affected by the fact that Sanguinius existed. And there's like two angels fighting in the warp over like the soul of Baal itself. Very odd. But basically every culture that will ever live on Baal. I don't know if I want to read this.
Did you please send me an image, bro? You gotta send that to the chat so we can. Oh my gosh! Thank you, DJ Beast.
Our resident extra fifth member, DJ Beast.
Our resident meme maker.
But basically, the Blood Angels sort of the people who come from Baal will permanently be affected by sort of angelic iconography and things, and the armor of the Blood Angels sort of slowly starts to take on that look later on. Yeah, they're quite cool in the. I mean, they really don't get much during the Great Crusade until later,
the main dichotomy is like a good example is like I quite like Raldoron, who's the first captain, and Ascalon, who's the leader of the Sanguinary Guard. Raldoron's very like stern and stoic and all about we're just going to do the job and we're just going to do it properly and we're not going to use too much flair. And then you got Ascalon in his gaudy gold armor, like we're superior and we're great. And it's like they're trying to wrestle between like ostentation versus getting the job done, and how much do we give into our savagery and how much do we put the veneer of nobility over like the bloodthirstiness that's endemic in our legion, which is like a fun thing.
There's a bit coming up later which I want to mention just about the people who guard the Primarchs, because Sanguinius is one of the very few Primarchs who has his actual guard like well respected, and then the Legion coming up, they are so like it's the funniest thing
Devourers,
ever,
isn't it?
Yeah, but they're constantly chasing after. They're always late because Angron ran ahead. So they're like, oh, we missed everything.
I put the meme from DJ Beast in the pinned comment.
People in the chat, there's a link here if you want to watch.
Man,
Does anyone want to describe that for the audio?
That's a good image.
I'm not reading that.
Come on.
Fuck you.
Oh, it's an image that says, "This is the man." Sorry, it's an image of Colin, and the text says, "This is the man who wants to prague Teclis." Your text here: Teclis has standards. Sheesh.
God damn.
That's a good one.
Oh my gosh,
man. Lorecrimes Discord. We might actually have to have a Discord, to be fair.
Yeah, I was reading that. That'd be really good.
Oh we'll need mods. If anything can be gleaned from today with the chat, we'll need mods. Several mods.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, the mods will have to be completely verified.
Holy cow.
That was Blood Angels, though, Andy. And who are we finishing up with today?
And to finish off, we're going to do like a very similar thing. If you know, there's a lot of overlap with some legions, but this one's quite stark with just how similar it is. So today we're going to finish this episode with the 12th Legion, which would one day be known as the World Eaters. Now, during the Unification Wars, the 12th Legion would be drawn from all corners of Terra. Unlike a lot of legions where they were drawn from specific places, they were just like, nah, we want one thing in particular. Let's screen for the most aggressive buggers across the planet and put them all in one group. And like, while the Blood Angels had this innate bloodlust derived from Sanguinius, the World Eaters, they were just like, let's specifically find aggressive people and put them all together and see what happens. Because, you know, why not? They were dubbed by the Emperor himself as the Warhounds, based on the Hounds of Yeshk. And these guys were so savage and adept at like melee combat, whether you were in open ground or if you were in fortified encampments, doesn't matter. Send the Warhounds. They're just going to like butcher everyone. And at this point they have like a moral code. They have like standards, I guess you could call it, and they aren't like giving into their vices per se. They're just really angry people who like to kill, and it's fun, but not in a Night Lord's way where it's kind of like, oh, it turns me on. It's more like, no, I just do it because it's like I'm a frustrated person. I've got to do something to vent. They were usually held in reserve and only deployed when necessary, because they were so ludicrously violent that it's like, you send in the warhounds, limbs will be flying. Doesn't matter. Like they love a chain axe, and they didn't really care about what casualties they took. And that was also a reason you had to be sparing with them, because it's like, if we just deploy them all the time, we won't have any left, because they're just going to like charge gun batteries. They don't care. They're just like, I just want to hit something with, drive me closer. I want to hit them with my sword. If it was a legionary standard.
Do they
Classic
have
2000s
in
meme.
America, in like American Canada?
Yes.
Do they have robot wars?
Did you say American
Oh.
canon?
America and
America and
Canada.
Canada.
Oh.
No, but I know it. Well, we might. I know. I
Sergeant
think I know what you're
Bash.
talking about, though.
Robot wars,
Let the
like
wars begin.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Colin? It's the one where like they have like a small arena and people often crit like and they make,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
crashed the
Mhm.
robots things. The Worldies one would just be there's always one with like a buzzsaw on it, and that's pretty,
Yeah,
there's
just a
one I'm
buzzsaw.
pretty sure I had just like it was like flailing arms and like sauce on it.
Well,
That's pretty much.
I remember one of the
Worldies.
first series. There was one that just literally it just flipped itself, and it was ludicrously good because it would just get under other robots, flip over, and then they'd be like on their side and they couldn't get up. I can't even remember what it was called.
I think
It
that
was
might
just
have been like
oh.
Jamie's from Mythbusters.
Yeah. I
No
know the
way.
Mythbusters guys were asked to bow out because their robot was too good. And they were like, "Oh, we'll make
Yeah,
you an
it was-
honorary winner."
It was called Blendo.
Yes.
Jamie Heineman.
Oh,
Heineman?
man.
Yeah.
Heineman.
That's fun.
Shout out to
Whack
Mythbusters, man.
Daniel.
Yeah.
It had a
Last
spin
minute.
speed
Rip that
of
guy.
500 rotations per minute and a top speed of 80 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's like one guy who has one of those ones. It's just like a hammer. That just goes dunk. Like, wow.
Oh man, you're
That's the
12 years old. You
competition.
pull up to the robot competition.
You see
I remember
Blendo
buying
going on.
Mythbusters.
I remember getting a
Oh,
Robot
man.
Wars magazine from the shop up the road when I was at
Ooh.
primary school and reading
That's
about
pretty
the different robots.
I
Matilda.
still
I
can't
love
put on the
Matilda.
stupid stickers that you get with the
Sergeant
Lego
Bash
sets.
was the best one because he was useless, but he had a great name.
Shout out to Robot Wars, by the way.
Shout out to Robot Wars and Craig Charles. So yeah, as the Great Crusade kept going, they got better and better at fighting. So they didn't really care about the casualties. And for a time, oh, hello, we got another donation.
Thank you.
$8 from Joseph Pollard. $8 for the Black Air Force Energy Legion. Air
I
Force
don't know what
Energy
to make of
Legion?
that. Well, as an
Right.
Air
It's just
Force One
like-
is in like the trainer.
I was thinking about Air Force
Isn't Air
Ones.
Force One the president's like thingy?
I thought
Colin
it was
wishes,
shoe.
Tom Warren.
Sorry.
Colin wishes he
We need
was as
some
good as
America law,
Blendo.
Colin. What's going
Born
on?
to Centritex, forced to goon. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I did. Sorry, I'll share this little meme.
More memes for the chat.
I don't have any neck tattoos. It's just a thingy. Anyway, so
Oh, good
you
God,
said
what is this
earlier.
now?
Oh, what's this? Let's have a look.
Not to
Alright,
mention
no,
Andy was
I'll
in
wipe.
prison for 30 years and has come out to do Warhammer Law.
man.
All the like tattoos on my knuckles. So yeah, you earlier, Hal, you mentioned about how the reunion with the Night Lords wasn't a very happy time. It could be said. Wait till you hear about Angron. So Angron, he grew up on a planet called Nuceria within Ultramar, funnily enough. So, Gilliman's like his next door neighbor and he doesn't even know it. And Nuceria had this thing where the nobles called the High Riders like to pit people against each other in arenas to kill each other. Fun times.
Family fun.
Yeah, family fun for all ages. You just put them on the sidelines and watch as the blood spatter. Like I've got to catch it in a jar. And yeah, unfortunately, Angron, who was designed to be like the empathy Primarch, he got turned into a slave fighting in the pits, and he was not playing ball. They put these things called the butcher's nails in his brain. He became a frothing mess, and he led his gladiator friends called the Eaters of Cities to a last stand in the mountains. The Emperor rescued him, and let all his friends die. And now you're in Angron's shoes. You've got this thing biting into your skull every day, and it really hurts. You're annoyed about your dad, who you've just met, who's just let all your friends die, and all your friends have died, and your homeworld thinks you're a coward because you've run away. All of a sudden, these bunch of guys turn up in armor and like, Daddy! And you're not having a good day.
We got Crimson Glory.
Big
Bless
one
your
from
soul.
Glory.
$50. Thank you so much.
Crimson Glory.
Wow.
This is faithful, enlightened, ambitious brothers. Blood for the blood god. Skull for the skull thrones. Let the galaxy burn. I agree. So
Thank
true,
you so
King.
much,
So true.
brother. Thank you.
You really paying for my beef and rice that I eat every day. Thank you.
He did. I think it would be, what would the term be, like wolfed down a bowl of something before the stream. I was just like,
mystery.
So
A
that's
whole
cool.
egg.
Yeah, no,
Just keep them big and strong.
We're not bringing the eggs back. We're not.
I'll
We're
bring
not.
I'll bring like a block of wasabi. That's probably pretty much calorie free. I could probably have that. I'll bring that next stream.
Don't threaten spice if you're not ready to
Don't do it.
dice.
Wasabi.
I'm always ready to
celery.
dice, baby.
So the thing was, the Warhounds at this point have been fighting for decades, and Angron was the second to last Primarch to be found. The only one found after him was Corvus Corax and kind of Omegon, but it doesn't count because Alpharius was around. Anyway, so they've been fighting for decades. They haven't had
Andy.
Andy,
Oh,
you've
I don't
gone
hear
silent.
Andy's.
Oh
Hello?
gosh.
Oh no, we
Oh,
technical issues
man.
right after the big dono. No,
This guy. Oh gosh, this guy's the nicest mic out of all of us. What did Pancreas No Work send in our chat? Oh man.
new microphone, brothers.
I gotta
as
check
well.
this. Yeah,
Let
Andy's
me know when you can
going
hear me.
through. Oh, we can
Oh,
hear
wait,
you.
Andy's back.
He's back. He's
Thank the
back.
Lord.
Yeah, I think that was
Oh,
Riverside more than my microphone, to be honest. Right, I guess I'll start again then. So basically, put yourself in the shoes of the Warhounds. They've been fighting for decades. They haven't got a leader, and the second to last Primarch to be found is Angron behind Corvus Corax. All the other Primarchs have been doing their thing, earning glories. They're getting jealous. They're going, "Oh, look at that guy from Ultramar. Oh, he's been doing a lot. I wonder where my dad is." And the closest thing they have to a leader is this guy called Ibram Greer.
Oh, sorry, having some interference from the microphone again.
He's
truly,
steady now.
this is the technical.
Most
This is the
fucking
Lorecrimes.
episode.
Oh my god. It sounds really good when it works, Andy. To be fair,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, I
something.
spent a bunch of money on it. It should work.
Holy
It is
cow!
okay now.
Hey,
Yeah.
gaming storyteller, hello.
It does sound like
Is it-
static. It sounds like static though. To be fair. Ah,
Am I okay now?
yeah, sounds alright. Yeah,
Okay,
gaming storyteller.
right.
Good to see you, brother.
Okay, so basically, the closest thing they have to a leader is this guy called Ibram Greer, and he's all like,
no, no.
"Is it doing
Oh,
it again?"
It
Oh,
like
it's-
it randomly stops.
Yeah.
Apologies, brothers. At this point, we're going so well.
I
Oh,
Now what have you done?
Lego.
That's the Lego bag.
Aw.
There used to be pieces in.
No, everything is going wrong these days. Kill Harry.
Oh,
Andy is our
gosh.
host. He hosts it all. So
I,
we-
I gotta crawl around on the floor,
Don't kick
get all
me.
this Lego.
if you want, Andy, I want me to take over.
I
just
knew
for
this
the
would
rest of
come.
it.
Yeah, I
Empty
could send you
pig.
like what I've got left.
I think I might be able to do
So,
it mostly
Oh,
from memory. To
gosh.
be fair.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Andy was just described. Sorry, brothers, for the apologies for the
Oh,
technical stuff.
gosh.
So Angron was found basically second last, essentially by the standards of the Great Crusade,
Sorry.
and pretty much Angron at this point was thrown into the deep end, and he was on making his last stand upon New Syria, and he was choosing to die by the side of his Eater of Cities, the other people who also had the implant called the Butcher's Nails, and then it basically went wrong because the Emperor appeared and said, "I'm here to save you." Angron went, "Nah, brother, I'm here to die, and I'm not here to die in a really cool way. You know, I don't, because there's nothing wrong with Angron in terms like they actually nice Eli showing nipple on stream. They would remove part of his brain for the Butcher's Nails, and he didn't quite see the Emperor the way the other Primarchs saw the Emperor. And so essentially the Emperor had to force him. He, before the final battle, he was taken away, and this made Angron pretty much earn his name, as he was pretty much inconsolable, fury, grief, everything. And then he has to meet his legion. And one by one, the leaders of the legion at this point here, they're like, we finally found our Primarch. It's so late in the Great Crusade compared to so many others, but they're just happy they found him. And then the legion captain walks in and immediately gets turned into paste. It's pretty. And then, so obviously, a lot of them are pretty shocked. We have a donation by Crimson Glory again. Thank you so much, brother. He says, World Eaters are your favorite, right, Colin? I knew we had something in common. Thank
Yeah,
you.
truly.
Truly.
Mm.
He loves corn as well. And
Yeah.
at this point, subsequent masters of the Legion. So, funny enough, the guy who just got killed, then you're like, well, it turns out you're promoted next, Brian. And then Brian goes in and gets smushed. And it keeps going to the point where Khan, captain of the 8th company, he goes in and finally manages to he holds his ground and lives long enough. Oh no.
I eat homeless people.
Harry Valentine said Angron's like you later and homeless people, free protein.
There's a clip for you.
King stuff, it's okay. And at this point, Khan just lives long enough to sort of show his mettle towards Angron, showing like, this is the Warhounds. We are worthy, and sort of it brings Angron out of his rage just long enough for him to agree, like, I'll give you guys a chance. And he, as he's limping away, like brings Angron out, and they're all like, oh my god, he did it. And he declares Angron as like the Primarch of the Legion, but they're not quite. They're all very much aware like their Primarch is somewhat damaged. And this would go on to be where the Legion and Primarch are reunited, but it continues a continuing story where the Legion is constantly trying to earn Angron's affection. They're very jealous of all the other legions, because a lot of them get on well with their Primarchs. The Primarch introduces them to like their ways of war. They bring them into their brotherhood. Angron is just a lone soldier who's kind of just trying to find a way to die. And they would eternally try and seek after Angron's affections, and would never really earn it until much. Well, that's a Horus Heresy thing we'll have to go over. And at many points, so the beginning of the Legion now, they're already quite melee focused, quite heavy like shock troops. But with Angron having them as a leader, they would sort of delve into that even more, because a lot of them were trying to follow with their Primarch, follow his example. It wasn't much more like Angron teaching them. It was more like they were just desperate to emulate Angron, so he would like
Hang
them
on
more.
a minute. He's not using a weapon. He's using his teeth and his fingernails. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it got
Whatever
pretty.
works.
Angron would show them, the ways of the gladiatorial. He would at most show like, I don't, you guys are not teaching you how to fight, but here's what we had in Assyria. We had gladiatorial pits. That made my constantly talking about the eaters of cities. That made them worthy. So at this point, when the Legion is renamed to the World Eaters in honor of the fallen gladiators, they would have like gladiatorial pits set up all over their ships, and they would tie like chains around their weapons to sort of, because Angron did it basically. So like, whatever Angron does, we'll try and imitate it. The Legion would get bloodier, more ruthless, and eventually at some point Angron sort of runs away again because he's like super upset. Khan manages to bring him in one more time, just hey, well, that worthy death is out there, buddy. I'm sure, hell yeah, you're gonna die so good, such a good death, so good. And they pretty much sort of, they're keeping up with Angron, but Angron just basically says, I just can't get with you guys. You're not worthy. You don't have any nails. What he means is the butcher's nails. And so they start to try and recreate the technology as the Crusade is growing. A lot of the other Primarchs and Legions sort of do comment at this time. They're sort of going on, hey, what are you doing to your sons? This is really barbaric. Because at every point so far, every experimentation has killed the Legionary with the butcher's nails. Until I can't remember the name of the planet. I don't know if you have it, Andy, but they finally reached one planet, I think it's like Gehenna or something similar to that name.
Yeah, Genna, for the Genna massacre.
And they find the technology that will help make the butcher's nails, because they're trying to recreate it from Angron's own sort of sculpt, but they don't have it. And they finally find the technology. There's actually like a civil war at this time in the Legion, because there are some legionaries who go, no, we're more loyal to the Emperor. We should not be butchering ourselves. like this. Who cares being more like Angron? But quickly, the leadership of that rebellion gets slaughtered by like Khan, who emerges as the first successful living member of the Legion who gets the Butcher's Nails in, and essentially everyone else is acquiesced. They just go like, "All right, I'm not fighting Khan. There's no need." And slowly, the Butcher's Nails will be implemented over the next remaining parts of the Great Crusade, until only the Psychers of the Legion were the only ones left in Legion who no longer had the Butcher's Nails, just because I think it's immediately killed the Psychers no matter what they did. So the Psychers were spared, but they were sort of like an outcast group here. More comments here. I don't want to read some of these. Eli forehead cam. They're so mean.
Sorry.
They're so mean. But at this point, more towards, I'm not sure if I'm missing anything out here, but towards the latter part, there would also be an interaction with the Space Wolves here. I can't remember the name of the event if you have it on hand. It's called.
Oh, isn't it
it's something wolf?
It's like the Night of the Wolf or something.
The Night of the
It's
Wolf.
the Night of the Wolf or something like that.
This is essentially when Lehman
Night
Russ,
of...
the Emperor's executioner, has turned up, and he's here to censure Angron for what he's doing to his sons. Funny enough, it's not come from the Emperor yet, which is very bizarre. I always find in the lore, but essentially Lehman Russ confronts Angron. Angron is not like other Primarchs, where he doesn't actually. There's clearly, like I said, like a part of his brain is missing. He clearly doesn't feel like he's imprinted with loyalty to the Emperor like the others, and so he makes a threat saying he'll go to the Golden Throne and take the bastards, the tyrant bastard's head, because he just sees the Emperor as the same as the people who were like the nobles on Nuceria. This starts a confrontation. Essentially, the Angron manages to push ahead, and he manages to almost bring down Lehman Russ, but he realizes it was Lehman. He doesn't realize this; he'll never accept it. But Lehman Russ just goes to prove a point where he lets Angron push ahead, but then his Space Wolves push the World Eaters back to the point where the Space Wolves lose quite a few legionaries, but ultimately they surround the World Eaters' force here. And if Angron keeps going, the Russ just shows he could kill them in an instant if he wanted to. It's to show him the fact that he doesn't work with his sons, and that what he's doing to them, putting the Butcher's Nails in them, clearly makes them inferior tacticians, and the point is basically trying to show him an example. But again, Angron's too stubborn to even sort of take it in.
Little interaction where Angron's retelling this to Lorgar in Betrayer, I think it is, and Lorgar's going, "You don't get it, bro. You don't get it. Lehman was right. Lehman was like, nah, he's a pompous asshole." Like,
it's very much the person. It's the person who says, "I won the argument," and then they tell you what happened, and you realize they did not win the argument.
Like, bro, no, you didn't win that argument.
No, you were in the wrong.
I totally showed that 12-year-old who was boss. You know what I mean? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But
and then I smacked Lehman, and everyone cheered. It's like, did they cheer?
No. But even at this time, to be fair, a lot of the Legion. And as well, like mentioning just the drip. I always like mentioning the drip in Warhammer stuff. Legionary colors at this time are like sort of they're the cream white with blue pauldrons, which in fact I do kind of prefer a lot more of the original Legion colors for the 12th Legion, the World Eaters. But even at this point, it was like because with the Butcher's Nails, like they call it like the biting of the nails when they're not.
The nails are biting.
They're not fully enraged. They only feel pleasure when they're like enraged and lost in battle. They actually start to get their. Go ahead, sorry.
Did anyone see that post where some dude at a tournament who was playing World Eaters?
It's a guy on Instagram. I talk to him semi-regularly.
He said his opponent was shadow boxing the whole time. And whenever he asked him to stop, he just said the nails are biting.
People got so upset about that too. It's like, holy fuck. We all got tism. Just let people be tistic, all right? Let us do our thing. Holy cow.
And like the legionary
so awesome.
Legionary like colors are pretty cool at this time, but even then they were saying they often would lose their tactical sense and would just charge randomly at, I mean, even I think Argyle Tal, the word bearer, says at one point, how many times did you claim to be all noble, but how many times did you lose yourself to the nails and just randomly butcher civilians? They're like, yeah, my bad. So like a lot of the times, particularly legionary colors start to like their armor is often stained with blood, and then it would eventually obviously turn out to be much more to the point where like even if like the newer members would paint their armor red just because they thought that was what the actual colors were, because again it was so full of like literally caked in blood. And
Caked up.
from what I can remember, like towards the latter part they have in the Great Crusade, it's at the very end where I think Angron essentially joins with Horus and they're attacking it's the book in, I think it might be the end of False Gods, and essentially is where the betrayal is starting to begin, but the worldies are not sort of really inducted until after this point where they're killing a world in which they shouldn't be doing it, and Angron randomly gets buried under rubble and then he suddenly emerges, but then he's lost the nail, so he randomly kills like some of their own men as well. And
Oopsies.
I think at this point as well, towards the later part, the very end here, Horus would approach Angron and basically say, yo, because Horus knew the Primarchs very well, he just says, do you want to just kill the Emperor? And he went, yeah. And the World Eaters, ever desperate to appease their father and ever aware of the fact that the Imperium of Man is sort of just hates them, just, you know, talks crap about them and what they've become. They call them literally butchers, so they're happy to replace the Emperor with Horus.
I do like the idea that also the librarians and the World Eaters are all just collectively just kind of going, oh no. Because they were the only somewhat sane guys in the Legion going, I don't think this is a good idea. Oh, well.
They didn't really have like a Legion ethos as well. They very much were just it was pretty much, for Angron's perspective, it was vengeance against the Emperor who sort of forced him to be his soldier. He would impart that into his Legion, where it's like, you know, we're forced to be butchers for an empire that hates us. So they're pretty much, they don't even know why they fight anymore. They just they fight simply to feel something. I think that might be, unless I missed any event during the Great Crusade, Andy, particularly, I think
not much. They're kind of, again, they're just kind of generic. Like, they're angry and they like to fight, and then they did this thing. Cool, simple, fun.
There's one cool bit we should mention a bit more on Khan. Khan is a cool character because he's actually one of the few characters who's able to sort of resist the Butcher's Nails decently well, and he builds up friendship with characters such as Argyle Tal, Sigismund as well, members of pretty much loads. He's often seen as, I don't think he is he makes the Primarch's equerry, isn't he? Because he's often a sort of diplomatic character who would go speak to other legions. Oh, another one by Crimson Glory.
Thank you.
World Eaters don't paint their armor; they eat the paint, which is why I can relate to them.
Paint huffing is great pre-workout. So true.
Truly is.
Super glue huffing.
But they're also another thing as well. Like, they're just known for having lots of chain weapon, like chain axes, chain swords, things. To that, I remember there's a cool part which I was mentioned. Like, Khan's actually not very good with a sword compared to even like Ultramarines and stuff. But he is really good with like the axes, because they don't. That's the thing they often train in the gladiatorial pits with, and they often. To that, like, there's one more thing I should mention about Legion as well. They have their own language because they pretty much often recruit on the go. They don't have like New Syria was not touched as like a recruiting world because Angron probably just didn't want to even acknowledge it was there.
Because it was the place where everything went wrong and he hated everyone who lived there.
Truly. So they would pretty much pick up people, willing and unwilling, on the go. And so they had to form their own Legion language. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's like begins with an S, like Skagerrak or something similar. So they had their own like Space Marine language, which they used, and it sounded very guttural and pretty, like, it sounds pretty strange to hear from outside. Like, some of them didn't even speak Gothic, which I found really crazy in some of the books I mentioned. Like, it's just because there's straight up, there's no need to, and they often like headbutting each other. That's a funny bit I love as well. They probably
they basically did like the Klingons, where it's just they spoke Klingon and they're a warrior creed. It's like, yeah. Just very harsh consonants and all that stuff. It's like that kind of noise. Everything.
They have their interesting characters are often the ones who are able to resist the nail biting, or, you know, the butcher's nails. They have some cool members who are like, there's one guy who was the old Legion master who was now in a dreadnought at this point. Lork, and he'll be cool during the Horus Heresy.
Yeah,
again, like,
there's still one who didn't have the nails because he was in a dreadnought, and then he woke up and went, "What is happening?"
Things look at someone changed the wallpaper. Oh my god, he has nails in the back of his head. They often describe them as looking like dreadlocks, I think, particularly in the lore as well. That's just the
Yeah.
way they do it. And I think that might just be World Eaters for
very
the
nice.
lore.
Dutch has said that Nagrikali is the language they said.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Couldn't remember my head
Nagrikali.
there.
The World Eaters, best fan in the stream, putting us
Yes.
in our place with the lore.
Truly a lot amount of well, that was the 3 bloodiest legions so far of the
Mhm.
Great Crusade. And in particular, I may ask Colin and Eli from their perspective, like, do you have a favorite out of the 3, or maybe a least favorite out of the 3 as well?
World Eater's stupid.
No,
World Eaters great.
They're
World Eaters
they
are
cool.
World Eaters are my favorite out of the 3.
Their books do slap though. They're really good.
Yeah,
Like,
they're cool.
Blood Angels, I guess, would be my favorite.
Funny enough, I say is like just not like modern Blood Angels chapter, really good. Legion, I probably put as my least favorite because there's actually nowhere near the amount they would need,
Mhm.
like lore
Yeah.
wise though.
Yeah, I haven't read a single Blood Angels book because the first like 20 books they're not in them. So
They are side characters in much of the Horus Heresy novels, unfortunately.
I think the Night Lords just kind of make me angry that they exist. Not even like that I dislike the concept of them. It's like, Big E, how is this not an issue for you?
I agree. My Lords are my least favorite out of the
I mean,
3.
yeah, I don't.
But I like
They're
Sevatar.
just a bit too edgy.
I think it's like at a certain point, it's like, hey man, maybe you don't need that many Space Marines. Maybe we can tighten the restrictions just a tiny bit.
I think the Night Lords Legion are my least favorite, but they have some of the coolest characters
Yeah, I was gonna say
in the
some of the
setting, like
some of the
Talos
more
and
well,
Sevatar
like,
and Chang.
their Primarch as well. Like they don't have a character which is like thought like, oh, that kind of is a caricature or it sucks.
Mhm.
That's
They do
true.
have some of the. I mean, they're the good part that their Primarch's dead, and it makes them more interesting.
Thank
He's
God.
in
Shout
a,
out-
he's in a
shout out
Spirit
to-
Stone, bro. He's in a Spirit
out to
Stone.
Yeah, I
Iron
hope that
Hands.
Spirit Stone gets eaten by like a Tyranid.
Shout out to Iron
yeah.
Hands
Thank
who got interesting when their Primarch died.
Ah,
Crimson Glory, another one.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
brother. It says Colin, embrace the return of Monkey.
yes.
Mhm.
Oh
What was
god,
that?
that was
Where's
Colin.
the-
That was Colin doing the noise. One say bite. For people who are listening again, like we're
My
also on
dog.
Spotify, but my god, the live chat
That was
everyone
quite
this
the
episode's been
stream.
quite crazy. So if you
That
are
was a
listening,
fucking mess.
if you're listening to this later, definitely come check it out because we're on Friday evenings at night.
That's a funny video.
9 GM, 8 GMT, and 9 GMT. But my god, thank you for everyone for the donations we had so far on this episode.
Yeah, seriously.
Absolutely
We-
ridiculous.
We're going back to
Um,
a semi-regular schedule soon. By the
Yeah,
way,
which should be
everyone.
more on our normal schedule for timing
Mhm.
wise. I think that being said, though, that was we're almost finished with the legions for the Great Crusade era.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
guess
we'll
the next one will
probably-
be Ultramarines, Death Guard, and
Fortnite.
Thousand Sons, and then finish with Sons of Horus, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion, and then we're done.
Mm.
Yeah, and then we'll probably because then we have to start the Horus Heresy. My god, poor Colin tortured with Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
I'm
this will
never
be
free.
this will be in between. Don't worry. Well, I'm sure we're going to have some fancy ones
Yes.
probably coming up soon. Just because I really hope to do vampire
Dark
cants. I'm so
elves.
desperate for vampire counts.
Fenrir, leave my beard alone. I shave it when I go out places.
Oh,
That
don't-
implies
That says a lot. Oh my gosh,
truly the dwarf.
Hang on.
this guy hasn't shaved him like a
Wait, let him
month.
cook.
Hang on. Men like when I'm going out to a bar or something. I
Oh
haven't
my
gone out just
gosh.
drinking or something for a while.
Shout out to the next Fortnite stream as well. Fortnite
God
Test,
damn it,
let's
I
play
can't
Fortnite.
open my mouth anymore.
Team
can't-
Fortress 2, that'd be awesome.
No.
We will
Uh,
having some guests on soon as well. We'll keep that
Yes.
surprise for now, but we're having some guests on for the tier list. Not
Oh
playing
my
Team
gosh,
Fortress 2.
maybe we can get a gaming stream in soon as well,
Yeah,
fellas.
We're itching for
I'd
another
love that.
gaming stream.
Yeah.
And
those are
with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you made it this far, please like, sub, donate, love, hate, make bed analogies,
Yes.
donations,
cooking
whatever.
me.
Yeah. Pancreas will be working if you donate enough. Just kidding. That's not how
I
it
wish.
works. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I love you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Fuck you.
Feet tier list.